Let's see if they happen, Dave. How you doing, anyone? How you doing, everyone? My name's Lee Addison, and this is the final positional analysis video that I've done during this off season. I've basically covered every position. This one is the halves today. Basically, going to heavily focus on the seven, which in this case is Harry Saker, but also his number six, Jonah. Each week during the off season, we've been doing social media about each position and asking certain players, how good is he? Some of the Facebook abuse has been quite interesting, and I've been on a blocking spree. I have just woken up and had a shower, so this is what I do look like. This game I'm showing you is the 2018 Emerging Nations Grand Final, Trophy Grand Final. I'm showing you the first half. To put this into some kind of context, I was the Poland coach. I put them together very quickly using rugbyleaguecoach.com.au. I got them all to study the tactics and get fit in their own territories before we met up 1 hour before the first warm-up game. We ended up making it to the Trophy Grand Final. We were undefeated. We were basically pumping every team. But unfortunately, we were running out of gas. I had a lot of players who'd come out of retirement. I think the combined age of the team was something like 32. The combined average age was about 32. And they were really running out of gas. So they played the semi-final against Vanuatu in the week. And I actually cancelled training for the next few days because I could see in the last 20 minutes they were really struggling. So basically, in the pre-match build-up, it was all massages, stretches, and just getting in their heads. And I think I still do have the video of the team meeting. I'm going to post that once I've got rid of all the swear words. So to put that into some kind of context for you. And the reason I've chosen this video is Harry Saker has played Super League, has played NRL. He was pumped up as one of the best halves ever, biggest signings ever at one point. His career has now seen him end up in Newcastle coaching the A-grade comp, as quite often happens with halves. They get a lot of pressure piled on them, particularly young, if they show some talent. I want to let you get into my head during this game and tell you what I was thinking and show you that sometimes things don't always go well. I'm going to take you through the whole first half, just the attacking, and put that all into context. I'm even wearing the shirt that I wore on the day. So when you watch this, I want you to know that the game plan was to move the Philippines around as much as possible. We don't want them to get flush tackles on us, so we want to play them laterally as much as we can. So what I'm looking for is we settle in the game straight away with a set that goes down a channel, and then we move them across the field as much as possible. It should be with 2+1s, right? And then when we got to the end of the set, we kicked right, because I worked out that the Philippines struggled when they came out left to right. We've got the coaching staff, Johnny Dorr and Shane Harris, to study them in the build-up when we thought we might be playing them in the final and measure their exit sets, and we found that. Okay, so that was what the coach instructions were. Okay, the game's about to kick off, and thanks to Bar TV Sports, who always give me permission to use their footage. Our tactics were to, at the end of each set, kick right. What we worked out was that Philippines, we could shave 30 to 35 meters off their exit sets if we kick to the right. So putting their players on their left palm, their left shoulder leading. So this set here, you will see we're just going down a channel, and that's Harry in number 7. I'm just going to rewind it a little bit. Just watch what he does here. His role here was just to support the ruck on that side. So the number 6 is on the other side of the field, because on this case, on this occasion, I played a left and a right half, and Harry's just supporting the play. He didn't do it too well there, but because now he's getting ready for his kick. And all we wanted to do in the first set was go down a channel. Quite often, halves kick from the middle so that the opposition are guessing, but Harry's decided to go to the right, and I bow to his better judgment here. You will see his kick chase team is ready, but we've just hammered this this third of the Philippines defence, and now we're kicking, and we're going to ask those same people to carry the ball out. So as you can see, we've gone to the right side and then a heavy kick chase, and Harry is leading the chase. So great start from Harry. We're coming to the end of the Philippines set now, so they've completed. You might have seen my balding head at the bottom there, or slightly balding. We're now on the left side of the field, and I dare say where the set has ended, I'm probably still asking for the channel set again. So to give you the reference, the channel set was called A1 because it was one pass. A different set where they did +1s was called A2 because they do 2 passes to get to a point. And in good ball, the set was called A4 in order to allow them to have up to 4 passes. So I'll be completely honest with you here. What's happened is they've done a mishmash of 2 sets. So they've started to go down a channel, but because Maslanka has gone through and made a half break, they've turned it into the A2 set. So Jonah's ended up coming in and doing a +1. Now, I would have been quite angry at this point, and I'll tell you why, right? And Jonah won't mind me saying this. I wanted them to pass wide early. So this was going to be our main set against them, the A2. So +1s, moving Philippines around. But what I wanted them to do is to pass long and then pass long. So really, I wanted the runner coming here, almost at the bottom of this screen. And then a bit later, we turn the ball back inside when I've noticed the inside defence getting tired. What quite often happens in big games, and this is a really big coaching point for any coaches out there and players to be aware of, is that you can get instructions jumbled up. If you're meant to go inside a bit later, you might do that earlier just out of habit, or you might be reverting to type. So this was very evident during this game too. So Jonah's actually gone a little bit against my instructions there. And I would have let him know, but at least it's not an error that is going to cost us anything. You know, he's tested the defence. So this set is actually not going in the way I like it. There's Steve, who sadly passed away this year, so God rest his soul, but he got us a penalty for some kind of foul play in that tackle there. So we're now in good ball. So I'm saying to my half that it's our first good ball set. So I'm happy if we just get a repeat set. We don't have to score, but we're obviously doing very well. We've built some pressure. We've built pressure on Philippines. We've made a half break. And then at the end of the set, they've given away a penalty. So I'm happy, to be honest, with a completion and a repeat set here. But otherwise, if not, we're going to play quite laterally. We're going to do the A4 set. And we're going to ask the Philippines to move around in defence. Already, I'm seeing that they've overloaded the short side a little bit in defence too. So hopefully the players are cognizant of that too. So Chippy's taking the ball to the scrum line. Now, Jonah has ended up coming on the short side. Now, if we're going to go long, either I'd want Jonah to be the first receiver, Harry the second. But what I think they've set up here is they're going to try and put the fullback in as the second receiver. So let's have a look. Obviously, the hooker always has the chance to go whenever they want. I don't know if you just saw there. Watch what Jonah does, the number 6. So he's obviously forgotten, or he's getting mixed up early in the game. Watch what he does now. He darts across to be the first receiver or to get in and around that position. Don't you worry, Harry will be telling him what he can or can't do. Harry's obviously told him to go forth and multiply. Harry's ended up being the first receiver, and now he should have a pocket around here. Between them, they've actually half messed this set up, but because Ethan's an elusive player, they've come away with it. And that's a perfect example of how sometimes you don't go exactly how you want, but you score a try. What they did do there in that set, and I will take you through it again, is without even realising they've moved the Philippines laterally. So let's watch the set in full. Chippy's gone to the scrum line, so the Philippines are starting to think that we might be moving the ball to their left, our right. Arek turns the chance into a scooting option. And we're still moving the defence over. And now Harry pushes the ball. And what Ethan basically does is go back against the grain. So even though I've not asked for that, it's actually worked. So I'm not trying to claim credit for that one. But because they've gone against the grain, it's worked early. So what I'm thinking as coach is that at least we have the Philippines guessing whether we're going to come inside or outside. And obviously with our fast start, with high completion, 4 minutes gone, and we've got the first point on the board. So great start to a grand final. So one of my golden rules that I stole off Wayne Bennett is after a try, always complete the next set. The Philippines haven't worked out that we're kicking right to them yet, so they've kicked exactly where we want them to. But we're in control of this game, so I just want us to keep completing, keep grinding. I don't need any trick plays off Jonah or Harry. I don't think that last try was a result of their or my intervention. But the problem we've got now is we've just messed up. So now we've been in control of the game, and now we're under pressure. So we have to start the whole process of building pressure again. But don't worry, we're not going to go through the defensive sets. Harry and Jonah are worried I was going to show you any missed tackles. The set ends well for us. We end up keeping the Philippines out, and we're back in control. All I want now is for us to get the ball out down the other end of the field. I want us to sit on the game for a little bit again. I want us to lower the tempo if we can. That's what I'm asking for. But the boys are still looking a little bit frantic, but I just want them to play the A1 set, the channel set. And to be fair, that's what they're carrying out. I do get the impression as well that they are settling into the game a little bit mentally. So even if they are somewhat worried, they're starting to understand that they've got some control over the game. They do have in their head that I want them to do more A2s plus ones, so they're always looking to go to that. And there's no doubt in this game now that we have got the Philippines under control. We're in control of this game. Yes, we made the error, but we've wrestled back control. We've got 2 penalties when we're coming out of our end. We hold all the cards. So James takes us back to a scrum line. I'm looking at my halves now to either do a +1 or a +2 from this situation. What I do want to say at this juncture, I can have all the ideas of the set that I want to do, but games unfold as they unfold. So a couple of times now, I reckon the hooker has just seen something and gone, and I don't ever stop players doing that. What this now means is that instead of doing a +2, they have to do a +1 to get to the other side of the field. It's about the principle of the set rather than the set that we do. So ultimately, I want to move the Philippines laterally. I want them to keep moving side to side so that we put pressure on their inside eventually. The players have ended up mixing the odd thing up, as you do in a grand final, and they've gone inside early, but that's fine because the Philippines are a little bit on their heels. Let's have a look at Harry here. Again, in grand finals and when players are tired and this, that, and the other, sometimes timing and whatnot gets a little bit skew with. I would say that Norbert, the right side second row here, and Krusty, the lock, possibly get their timings a bit wrong. Harry doesn't take the cleanest catch. He can probably be a little bit deeper. The other thing is, because we've moved Philippines across, he actually doesn't have that much space to play with. So he ends up getting caught with the ball. Timings are slightly off. Absolutely no stress. Now, because the 7 has ended up getting tackled, I would expect my fullback to come in as the extra pivot now. And the other thing we need to be aware of is that because Harry has actually run at the line, that's another thing that the Philippines have got to guess. Are we going to go sideways? Are we going to go inside? Or is the half going to go? So even if it's not by design, I'm constantly thinking during the game, well, we can adapt to this. We can adapt to this. So I'm still asking them to push the ball wide. We resettle again with Steve near the scrum line. And we should get the ball now to either kick right or play right. And Harry's overplayed his hand there. Now, sorry, Harry, you're going to get it here. The golden rule you should always play to is don't play a long pass close to the line. Now, again, he's probably ran the space out there by carrying the ball to the line. He's ran the space out, but also the back runner should have been a lot deeper. And he's ended up playing. Basically, our combinations aren't doing too well at the minute. They're a bit off. And I dare say my messaging during this game would have been to calm down, take your time, think about things. Even though I feel like we're in control, I feel like we're only seconds away from losing control, if that makes sense. So, last couple of sets we've not really completed. Again, a good outcome. We managed to keep the kick in, or it just ends up staying in. But a bad outcome the way it's dealt with. So we've had very low success coming out of our own 20 now. So I'm starting to wonder whether we're getting the jitters in this grand final, but our defence keeps holding up, either through accident or design. Again, my instructions now are just to get out of this area. I want us to go down this channel and I want us to kick downfield, maybe walk to a scrum even, but otherwise we just need to get out. Once we get over the 20-metre line, I don't mind if we open up a little bit into the A2. That doesn't bother me. But the players now are settling into their role. They do understand. Have you noticed the halves haven't touched the ball here? Have you noticed a lot of it's coming from the hooker? They still haven't touched the ball. Harry's just directing traffic from the back. So even though this is a half-back analysis, it's more about the game plan because at the end of the day, your halves are the ones that dictate where you go. Harry chooses to go right again and we kick right again. Again, we defend it, and we're actually defending quite well. They're testing Ethan now because he's already made one error, but he's not going to make a second. Again, though, so if I've got to worry, the Philippines are pinning us in our 20 quite a lot. So I just want us to get out. But if we get over the 20, they have the latitude to move the ball into an A2 if they want to. And from this position, I wouldn't mind if they went down to the bottom of the screen. And even if they went +1, it's about getting to a point as soon as we can. And yes, Jonah comes in, he's done the inside ball again. No doubt I was starting to pull out some of that hair. I've had this little ball patch at the back of my head for a while. It's not even that bald, really, but it comes out in the light, and Harry kicks right again. And I bet they start to think there's a pattern now. So what this is doing is shaving meters off their set. This is the end of the set. Again, we defend it. We get the outcome that we need. We are now getting close to the 20-metre line. So if we do get some go forward, I don't mind if the boys open up. Have you noticed to this point that Harry and Jonah have played a minimal role in the sets? It's all about graft. And I think this is important for halfback analysis because a good halfback knows when to play and when not to play. Jonah moves the ball across. He sensed that there's some space across. Now, what they're doing here is the A2. They've got near the 20 and they've decided to open up. Look at the distance of that pass. So this is a really good decision from Jonah and Rec. They are letting the ball do the work. So Jonah's the 6. That pass has just gone 12 metres maybe. He's caught it out in front and he's done another pass that has gone another 12 metres. So it's basically gone from one side of the Philippines defence to another. So we are now doing the A2 set. We've started A1. We're going into A2. Look, I'm not that bold, am I? And now Jonah does another +1. Now he's starting to do what I want him to do. And the reason I want him to do this is we've just stretched the Philippines defence there. We've got some dead Marines. And now with the +1, we're asking the thinner part of the defence to work again. And obviously the Philippines are going side to side, side to side. I dare say Harry will come in now and do either a +1 wide or turn it back inside. He turns it back inside. I can't remember. Maybe I did tell them to turn the ball back inside. Either that or they're not following. But either way, they did a good A2 set there and the Philippines have had to work hard. And I think you'll agree with me. They're guessing which way the ball is going unless it's on the kick because it keeps going to the right all the time. I could promise you their wing fullback are starting to get quite tired returning the ball. Seems like they're doing something similar to us too. They seem to keep kicking the ball in the same area, don't they? Or it ends in the same area. So again, I don't mind if we do A1 or A2 here because I feel that we're starting to make some inroads now. We're marching down the field, okay. So let's see what the players come up with. Again, Harry or Jonah haven't touched the ball yet. They're waiting to see how the set develops. I'm going to give them credit and say they're doing good ruck control. And Jonah does and tries exactly the same thing. And there's no doubt the Philippines are chasing us because they've given away a few penalties now. And that was a desperation play. And we get the penalties. So as a coach, I'm happy. So even though it's not going exactly how I want it to artistically, it's still achieving what I want to achieve in that the Philippines are moving side to side. They're starting to have some panic. But again, we let them off the pressure valve. We let the pressure valve up. So from a grand final point of view, when we've got our foot on the metaphorical throat, we seem to be letting it off a little bit. Luckily for us, the Philippines aren't completely clicking either. And this is grand final football. People get nervous. People force passes, yada, yada, yada. So it's all about the team that's a little bit calmer and just goes through their processes. Harry's going to feed the ball in the scrum. Let's see what unfolds. We take a carry. We get the Philippines going backwards. I would like to see us either go short side or open side to move them across. So it looks like we're moving them across. We've got to the other scrum line already, so the boys have carte blanche. And Jonah and Harry link to move the ball +2. And the Philippines are still going side to side. So I'm happy. The Philippines are rarely tackling us front on. And the players have got the latitude to keep doing that. Of course, I would have done things differently occasionally, but I'm not playing, so I can't always say I'm going to be right. I just see what I see from the sideline. Now, if nothing else, in this set, we've just moved the Philippines sideways to side to side. And what that means is that if we decide to play on this last play, there could be a defender that misses their assignment and we score. The other thing is if we kick, we're going to get a repeat set or try for a repeat set. So I'm happy. To me, the Philippines don't seem to be coming off their line fast. We shift the ball. We move it to the side to kick. Harry finds space. Not always the best kick, but at least the chase is good. So I'm happy with that outcome. One thing the Philippines did do is exit quite well too, and they had a great kicker. So even if they didn't make that many meters, they had somebody who could boot a ball really fast. They've just pinned us to the left now. Again, I'd be happy with A2 from here. Because we're getting into the middle area of the field. So what I want to do is keep the Philippines chasing us. I guess why this is good for a halfback analysis is that you could argue Jonah and Harry are playing with a dinner suit on to an extent. They're not taking carries too much. Harry's taken one, but they're just steering the team around the park the way that they see fit. So Harry's ended up coming in. So again, we've moved the Philippines from one scrum line to another. We keep making them work. He's gone to the right to do his kick, and he's worked out that the fullback is working him out. So he's put something different in there. As you can see from the kick, we keep getting pinned back. So I keep going A2. If in the first two tackles we end up in the 20, I'll just say A1. But if we get out A2, we really are back on our toes. So from a game point of view, I'm starting to think the Philippines might be a better team than us. They're grinding us down. They are putting us under real pressure. But one of the other things is we have got the scoreboard pressure. And because we play the ball quick, we get a penalty. So I keep talking about the pressure valve. We're back in control of the pressure valve again. I would like to see +2s. And I dare say I asked for the ball to start coming inside now as well, because I've brought Nathan on at prop, who's got some fast feet. So I've got 2 mobile props on now. So Harry should be testing the inside and Jonah should be testing the inside as much as the outside now. I like what they're doing. They are adding variety. They're not just readable. And the Philippines are never getting a straight on tackle with us. And I'd like to think this set and this try is a result of the constant pressure we are putting on the Philippines, moving side to side. So let's just go through the whole set again. So Harry turns the ball back inside. So the Philippines have started to slide, then they have to shift back. Now we shift the ball wide. So they've just turned back inside. Now they have to go back to the right again. And you can tell a defense is starting to panic when somebody jumps out like that. And we're not letting the Philippines get a front on tackle or trying to stop that as much as we can. And we're fighting for every inch. They've got 3 dead Marines there and Chippy finds it. So because they're not tackling us flush, they're chasing us all the time. Golden rule after a try, don't concede and knock on. So, again, this is the halfback analysis. So hopefully you've seen what the halfbacks are doing. They're moving the opposition around, but unfortunately we keep putting ourselves under pressure with errors. So their creative talents are starting to get limited a little bit because we keep putting ourselves as a team under pressure. And I'm pulling out that hair. So what we're talking about a lot here is game management, because you can have all the ideas in the world, but we've been under a lot of pressure, but we keep defending it. That was a repeat set we just defended, and we've survived. So my boys are getting confident that they can defend the Philippines if they're put under pressure, and we just know that we need to increase our completion so that we play the game at the other end of the field. And the other thing that's happening is Philippines keep giving penalties away because they're struggling to get flush tackles on us. So there's 30 minutes on the clock now. So I'm starting to think I need to get these players to half time so I can encourage them to stay on this route. The game plan being that we keep the Philippines moving, they don't tackle us flush, and they start to give away penalties and whatnot because they're getting frustrated. That was the plan, keep moving them around. So I'm not saying it's perfect in any way, shape or form, but we're managing it. Nathan gets good go forward there. I don't think he'd ever played prop before. I think he came to me as a half or a hooker. And now we're doing the shift in our own half. So they're definitely making the Philippines chase us, and Harry's had a second run. Jonah's ended up going on the other side of the field, and again, I don't mind that if Harry's caught, as long as the players communicate with each other and the fullback covers. So the boys aren't playing the set perfectly how I want them to. What they are doing, though, is sticking to the principles of moving the ball around. The Philippines are chasing us. Jonah's back in position, and he looks for the left edge because he noticed that they're a bit short there. If you're the Philippines, we're not coming straight at you. You're chasing us, and you don't know which direction we're going in. And that's a good choice from Jonah, putting pressure on, but it's just poorly executed kick. What was it? Let's have a look. Was that a knock on? I reckon that was a good pass. So we defend our own goal line again after the penalty, and we end up getting some extra meters soon when they concede a penalty again, the Philippines. So we get a lot of joy from defending our own line, but we can't keep doing this. And the traits of the Philippines are that they are giving away penalties when they're under a little bit of pressure. So we're just going to keep applying the pressure, and that's the idea. And I'm not saying that we are doing it perfectly, but overall we are trying to. What we're trying to achieve is happening. I mean, we're 10-0 up on the scoreboard, just need to settle the boys at half time. Everybody's playing hard and fast. They're giving it everything they can. We've not seen the halfbacks lots, but what they are doing is they keep asking the Philippines questions. Harry's just turned the ball back inside again. I feel like a stuck record, but we're not asking the Philippines to tackle us flush. We keep asking them to turn on their heels. Harry's gone wide this time. I think Jonah should get involved now, unless Harry's decided to take over. Let's have a look. So Jonah can go left if they want. No, we end up going back right to Harry. So I've got to bow to the players' wishes here. At least they're still doing the plus ones. They're playing within the scrum lines a little bit. And the Philippines could be moving even wider if we get it right, but they're still kicking right. So they're following my instructions about 60-70% of the time, and that's fine. In a grand final, that's fine. As long as they're getting the overall goal, I can get to them at half time and we can settle things down. And once again, we've defended. And once again, I think we concede a penalty. Don't know why, but it's back to back. And we managed to defend it again. So I think this first half has been a lot about defending our own goal line. We've put ourselves under a lot of pressure. The Philippines are getting angry. Right now, I'm thinking, let's get to half time. So I'm telling my halves, settle. And I think I can get to them at half time. What I'm also noticing, though, is how tired my players are. They're taking little gasps of air, and Harry's doing his best to slow things down. He knows we've been defending our own goal line, very experienced. I don't even know if he was captain in this game. You saw a couple of the players gesturing to calm things down. For Lord's sake, I just want us to do an A1 set and get out nice and slowly. Put them under pressure again, because we've been under pressure a fair bit. Philippines are clearly getting angry. When players get angry, sometimes they tackle harder, they strip for the ball, they jump out the line. We definitely seem to be achieving that objective, even though we're not executing it perfectly. But the principles, as I keep saying, the principles are getting carried out. And yes, of course, we just do an A1. We don't do anything risky. We don't do any plus ones. And we give the ball away again. And we defend it again. It's like Groundhog Day every time. So we're defending really well. And I do remember somebody mentioned the defensive efforts at the end of the game, at the after-match presentation. So this is a halfback analysis, but what I want to emphasize is how much the halfbacks don't have to do sometimes. They don't have to have the ball on the hands in every set to carry out the set. They have to manage the game. And you could argue that Poland are managing this game. We decide to move them around here. Chip is a go-to because of this. So Jonah keeps using him. And the Philippines are still chasing us. So in terms of game plan, I actually think we're doing enough. Harry keeps kicking right, so they're under pressure. And Harry gets over for a meat pie, I think. Was that given? Yes, it was. Now, what I want you to get from that first half analysis, the second half, I think we conceded 10 or 12, but we won. We won 14 something. Your halves are there to manage the game. And you want them to carry out your game plan. If you can, carry it out to the letter, preferably. But if not, something resembling it. In a bigger game, they might get the odd thing wrong, and that's fine. But the idea was that we moved the Philippines around. We didn't let them get a flush tackle on us. We kicked right. You've got to say, at half time in that game, we're doing it. We can improve how we do it. We can get better at it. We certainly need to lift our completion, particularly coming out of our own exit. But in terms of managing the game, Harry and Jonah are doing really well. And I don't know if you noticed, they both look quite calm. Harry looks calm, but he tends to argue during games and send messages and blah, blah, blah. We have a great relationship. We get on really well and we have a great back and forth during the game. But yeah, the boys got the job done. And I wanted to show that game because I thought that was a really good test case because there's some community players there's some professional play, not professional, but ex-professional, and there's some high A-grade players as well. So Harry had to manage a good mix there. Harry and Jonah, I should say. So hopefully you saw the processes that we're going through in the game there. Bit scrappy the game at times, but it was a grand final. That is a positional analysis done and dusted. You've got every position now. Take care and thanks so much for all your support throughout the whole series. Cheers.